Hi friends, welcome to my channel Go Cool and Be Cool ISO 9001 2015 Internal Auditor Training Program Certification Course Examination Tips and Tricks Part 8. We are going to see the final certification exam, the real-time examination. 45 question and answer. We are going to explain you with beautiful tips and tricks. Phase 2, we are going to explain each and everything, how to score 90 marks with explanations. Are you ready? Welcome back. ISO 9001 2015 Internal Auditor Training Program Certification Course Examination Tips and Tricks. We are going to see the final certification examination, which will cover 45 question and answer, my dear friends, with explanation in phase 2. Especially if you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. So we have a lot of certification courses in this. So if you are new to the employment, if you are new to the experience category, if you are having more than 10 years experience, 5 years experience, 15 years experience, please make sure that you are getting your upgradation promotions in your designed way. Okay, so please go to the playlist. You have a lot of ISO 9001 2015 internal auditor, lead auditor. If you are 14,000 specialist, environment specialist, we have lead auditor from 14K also, so there 27K is there. We have a lot of tips for this promotion, how to get promotion, how to resign before resignation, what is the tips you supposed to follow in these examinations and everything. Because resignation, we have given 7 videos. Internationally we made a comparisons and we have given a lot of things to you. Plus Python also there, big data program is also there. So all programs is mainly for you to focus on certification, how to upgrade by yourself to the next level of career development. So I my intention is very clear. So one time examination we are going to write, one time payment you are going to do. I am helping you for these certification tips and tricks, especially how to make sure that first time examination, first time certifications. So we are going to talk about each and everything. So 45 question and answer we are going to discuss about with explanations in phase 2. Okay, my dear friends, before get into this area, first we need to understand what is meant by phase 1 and what is meant by phase 2. So before yearly, generally what we used to have in internal audit training program, we have a question available. So based on the 2 days training program, we will study a lot about standards 19,011 2018. So many kind of standards as workbooks. We'll study that, we will know that what is the answer is supposed to be, isn't it? So we don't know exactly, so we will come to know what is the answer supposed to be. We know the answer, we need to write down the answer. But now the trending is getting changes, by MCQ, that is a multi-choice question. So phase 2, so what the question is given, we have a 4 answer is there, you have to choose the right answer. But see, before one is yes, based on our experience we can compare, here is the right answer, at least we can pick here. But here answer 1 2 3 4, they will make you confused, more and more confused, you don't know. So before knowing the answer, then only you will choose the correct answer, isn't it? Yes. So please make sure that if you are new to my channel, please start from the basic. So once you understand one by one, slowly you can get to know incident and what is the class supposed to be. I have given a lot of prime player, global player videos of Leo Messi, then Cristiano Ronaldo, cricket player, basket player, and then so many standards, as well as salary is also given to you. So what is the before salary and then how the salary are the after. So without, my dear friends, the efforts will not be useful for you. So please make sure that how the phase 2 we have made it this MCQ. So one by one we will see that. But before getting to this, please understand, my dear friends, if you are new to my channel, before writing the examination, please complete this phase 1 and phase 2. Please take this printout of PDCA, please keep it behind your laptop. If you are writing the examination online, yes, online is very nice. Examination tips is also, my dear friends, I have given to you. Please go to the playlist and please check it up, the leader training program. I have given you the entire tips and tricks, like how to make sure that single attempt you are getting the score of more than 70%. How to make sure that, yes, all tips is given. So please make sure that you are writing the examination holistically. Now the PDCA talks about here is like, you know context of the organization. 4 is there, then leadership, planning, support and operations. So do performances and improvements is there. So that is a PDCA. Okay, so whenever you get some questions, so please keep it in front of you. So keep 9001 manual in the right side, 19011 in the left side. So then your notes, tips and tricks, your mobile is also in front of you. Okay, you understand what I mean. So now let's see that before get into this area, so we will go ahead like one by one. So 45 question we are going to see the real time examination. So it will last for nearly 90 minutes. So we have 45 questions available. Yes, some questions is directly given, we have to identify the exact right answer. We have 4 answer available, my dear friends. Then yeah, then case study is also given. Some areas as we are asking, like NC, is it NC or MNC? Same question will ask for the classes, as well as what is the objective evidence is also being asked here. Okay, so we will see one by one, so how we can capture the real time feelings. Okay, are you ready? Okay, so first question we are going to see here is process approach incorporates. Process approach incorporates what all the things it get, compilations of everything. So PDCA cycle, risk based thinking, A and B. So two answers supposed to be, or none of the above. So process approach. So process, how it get approaches, PDCA cycle, then risk based thinking, none of the above. PDCA cycle is the major one, isn't it? So everywhere we have to have this PDCA cycle, risk based. Both are things are right. So what is the right answer? Here is the right answer, A and B. That is PDCA cycle as well as risk based thinking. So generally, PDCA, what I mentioned here is automotive manufacturing. So design a process for installing airbags with FMEA risk assessors. Then do is implement the process on the assembly line. So check is monitor defect rates via sensor. Act is adjust torque settings as if error exceeds threshold limits of this risk control. So this demonstrate both PDCA and risk based thinking in a process. Just an example, I'm what I'm saying. Yes, here is explanation. The process approach in 9001 2015 explicitly includes, that is PDCA cycle as well as the risk-based thinking, used to manage processes and achieve continual improvement. Here is risk-based thinking is integrated into process planning and control to prevent undesirable outcomes. So this is emphasized in the introductions of ISO 9001 2015. So this process approach is incorporated in PDCA. So why the others are not others incorrect? So PDCA cycle only means, risk-based thinking is also the core, one of the main area we're supposed to think about it. Risk-based thinking only means PDCA is also fundamentalist. So none of the above means incorrect. There's the integral part. So exam tip, generally we supposed to memorize that. Introductions of 9001 2015, it explains the key concept like process approach, PDCA and then risk-based thinking. So what my suggestion is, my dear friends, before going for the examination, please ensure that the PDCA cycle in front of you, since you are appearing in the laptop, so laptop is there, so you are writing the examination very faster in the right side. Because see, the thing is that once you start the examination, mouse and everything is supposed to be within this boundary, unless otherwise it's very very difficult for you, because you cannot able to move your ups and down. So then the systems will capture, then the auto submission will be happen. So ensure that you are writing the examination holistically. So one by one you are closing next by next 75 minutes as we have, so we can capture all the areas and everything. So we have to fill up the forms and everything. So then you have to write the examination, so where you are applying, so those kind of things is we have to write it, then we can proceed it. So this is how the first question answer is PDCA and risk based thinking, A and B. Now moving towards this next question, it is mandatory to plan and implement action related to what? It is mandatory to plan and implement, so we have to plan it, so then and implement action related to, again, risk and opportunities, we can say A and B, none of the above. So both the things are very, very important. So A and B is the right one, we can say. Here is A and B, risk and opportunities. What we have seen in the before one is the risk and opportunities, both are same, like with the PDCA is the accomplishment of everything. So incorporations of the same. So here is determine risk and opportunities that need to be addressed to ensure the QMSs can achieve its intended results, prevents and reduces undesired effects, and achieve continual improvement. So here is like risk is potential events that could harm quality or customer satisfaction. Example, supply delay, equipment failure, something like that. Opportunity means potential positive documents to enhance performances. Example, new technology adoption, process efficiency gains. So why the others are incorrect? Risk only means incomplete, opportunities are equally mandatory. Here opportunity means incomplete risk must be also addressed. Yes, now risk separate course is also coming here. It's like 31,000 is also main area. So what all the upcoming, like initially it starts from the corrective action, preventive action, predictive actions, like that. So many kind of varieties as we have. None of the above, it's generally nowhere it will be available. Explicitly requires us both. Okay, my dear friends. Now exam tip, what we supposed to have it. Class number 6.1 is a high frequency in exam. Remember, so risk is to prevent negative outcomes, that is defects and then recalls. Opportunity is enhance positive outcome. Example is innovations, customer and then delayed. So use the risk based thinking mantra is prevent harm, seize good. You know, Next one is real world examples is automotive industry. Generally, we talk about risk is semiconductor shortage, disrupting production. So plan alternative supplier. Opportunity is adapt AI for predictive maintenance, reduce downtime, and then improve efficiency. So this is what the thing is supposed to be. So both are mandatory for IS 19001 2015. So this is how the exams supposed to be like this. We have to choose the answer wisely. Now moving towards the third question. So who is an interested parties? So generally the doubts generally will come in front of examination, in front of auditor. Who is interested parties? A person or organization that can be affected by or perceive itself so to be affected by a decision or the activities of an organization. So all are getting affected, supplier, all are, it is saying that interested parties. Maybe they are like organization that can affect means person means maybe internal, maybe employees, a supplier, that is all internal. And so all of the above will be the right answer, I think. No? So all of the above explanation is an interested party, also known as the stakeholders, isn't it? Is defined as 9001 2015 9K. Generally we will share shortly. Class number 3.2.3. Persons or organizations that can be affected by or perceive itself to be the affected so by the decisions or active so of an organization. So this include employees affected by the workplaces policies and organizational decisions, suppliers affected by procurement processes and quality improvements, quality requirements, customers affected by the product quality and then service delivery, regulatory is affected by the compliances with the laws and standards. So stakeholders are affected by the financial performance and strategic decision. Why the others are incorrect? So only the definitions we can pick it here, because see it all explicitly we come to know all the above, we have to pick it simply. Okay, so now exam tip, what we can see, memorizing of this thing is very, very important. Understand that interested parties can be internal. What I said is right, I think. Okay, internal means what? Employees. External means supplier, customers, regulators. It is that we have to memorize those kind of things are supposed to be. In audit, generally always verify that the organization has identified and considered the needs of relevant interested parties. Class number 4.2. So real world examples generally we can talk about here is need safe working condition and trainings, whereas supplier in the things like need clear specification and timely payment. So customer means need reliable vehicles and good services, and here is a regulator means need compliances with safety and environment laws. Community means need minimal populations and positive corporate citizens. So all of these are interested parties. So now you will come to know how the answer we already there in the question itself is available. Now we are talking about the fourth one is which of the following is not considered as an external organization context. External organization context: legal requirements, culture of the organization, market, society. So what may be the answer exactly it's supposed to be? Which of the following is not considered as an external organization context? So externally maybe it can be prevented. So the answer is culture of the organization it's supposed to be. So like for example, which of the following is not considered which of the following is not considered as an external organization context? Not consider, we need not to consider, we not considered as one. So culture of the organization explanation is 4.1. Requires as organization to determine external and internal issues that can be affects their QMS. So external context means refers to the factor outside the organization, such as legal requirement, market conditions, society, something like that we can say here is. Internal context refer to the factors as within the organization, such as culture of the organization, organizational structure, and resource and capabilities we can say. Since culture of the organization is not an internal factor, it is not the part of external context. You understand the question itself is different. Culture of the organization is an internal factor. Without culture, without QMS culture, something like that, it won't be like this, like the normal mode. It is something abnormal. So then why the other answers, why the others are external? Legal requirements that is imposed by the external entities. Generally, we have government and the regulators. Market is sectional environment is where the organization operators, and then customers, competitors, a society, broader social influences, public opinions, social trends, and etc. So now we talk about the exam tips. Generally, to remember, external means what? Outside the organization, maybe legal, market, societal, something like that. Internal means inside the organization, culture, policies, resources, we can say. So use the ELMS. ELMS means external, legal, market, society. We can simply memorize for ELMS. So real world examples as we can pick it here is, legal. We can say it is emission standard supposed to be there. Example, Euro 7 regulation, Euro 6 regulation, BS6 regulation, whatever we can say here is. Market, rise of the electrical vehicle, EV generally, Tesla is competitions as we have. So then here is like, Tata, and then most of the players are coming with the EV vehicle. Society is growing demand for the sustainability. ESD, SDG, so we have a lot of areas. Then internal is company emphasizes on innovations on safety. So culture is always internal, so we can see. So this is how we need to remember, my dear friends. Okay, now we will move to the fifth question is, which of the following is not considered as an internal organization context? Culture, values, competition with competitor, knowledge. See how they are confusing us. Which of the following is not considered as an internal organization context? So internal organization which is not considered. Internal organization, culture, values, competitions with competitor, knowledge. So what is the right answer? It's supposed to be competitions with competitor. So explanation, what we can say here is 9001 require organization to determine internal and external issues that can affect their QMS. Internal context, we can say, refers to factor within the organization such as culture, values, and then knowledge. So external context refer to the factor outside the organization such as competitions with competitor. It is not in our hand at all, okay? But we have to compete with this area. So example, market rivalry, and then industry trends as legal requirements as economic conditions, social changes, some common other things we can say here. Since competition with the competitor is an external factor, says it is not part of the internal context. Okay, now why the others are internal? Culture unique to the organization. Generally, we can say here is Toronto case and cultures we have. Values, core beliefs as guiding the organization. Example, integrity, innovations. Also, we can take it here. Then knowledge, internal expertise and resources. Example, patterns. I employ skills and examples. Okay, exam tips is we can say internal means inside the organization, culture, value, knowledge. External means outside the organization, competition, regulation, and then we have seen external for the quick memorizing all those things. And now the internal is CVK. Here is C means culture, value, and then knowledge is very just remembering. We can see here is exam tips. Now moving towards to the real world example, how we can collaborate. So internal means culture, collaborative teamwork and continuous improvement, commitment to safety and quality for values, expertise in hygiene, hybrid engine technologies, knowledge. External means competitions or rivalry with the Tesla in the electric vehicle market, emission standard, and growing demand. See, most of the areas is the same. Previous question, fourth question, and then fifth question. So they will make you confused, my dear friends. Please make sure that before clicking the next question, please ensure that if you are not confident, please write it down in your paper that this fourth question or fifth question I need to go for review. Before review, please don't submit. My humble request to all of you, we have to score more than 70 percentage. That is our main aim, isn't it? Now moving to the next question, sixth question. It is mandatory to set quality objectives for the processes that are needed for QMS. Is it true or false? It is true only. No, I think it is mandatory to set quality objective. Without quality objective, nothing is possible. So it is true. So we can say explanation is according to the 9001 2015 6.2.1, organization must establish quality objectives. The organization shall establish quality objectives at relevant functions, levels and processes needed for the quality management system. So this means quality objectives must be set for the process critical to the QMS. So then relevant continuing improvement is also one of the main area we're supposed to look into this, especially why false is incorrect. See, please understand, if you are setting quality objectives, it's not optional, my dear friends. Please understand, it is mandatory requirement under class number 6.2.1. Without objective, the organization cannot measure process effectiveness or demonstrate improvement. So exam tips is link class number 6.2.1. So quality objectives 6.2.2 is planning to achieve the objectives. Objective must be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. In audit, check if objectives are established for the key processes. Example, design, productions, and then customer services. Real world examples is automotive processes. For example, we can talk about here is a brake assembly line. So what is our objective supposed to be? Okay, if you are working a profession, maybe in any automotive industries, you can correlate why quality objectives is very very important. So here is the brake assembly line. So reduce brake pedal effects defects from 2% to 0.5 percentage within 6 months. So we can say here is within 6 months we have to reduce it. So evidence is like monitoring records, corrective actions as management review, discussions. This is mandatory for QMS conformance is supposed to be like this. Okay. So 6 questions we have seen, 45. I think 39 is supposed to go very fast. Okay. Now moving towards the seventh question is new standard requires the organization to plan to determine how quality objectives will be achieved. New standard requires any new standards, for example 2015 2026, organization to plan determine how quality objectives will be fixed. See, as of now, so we have a quality policy, quality objectives is entirely different. But when the new standard demands something, we have to alternate or we have to modify accordingly to the new standard. Is it not? Yes, of course it is. Yes. So answer is true. Explanation is supposed to be like 6.2.1, organization must plan how to achieve its quality objective. So when planning how to achieve its quality objectives, the organization shall determine just what will be done. So what resources will be required and who will be responsible when it will be completed and how the results will be evaluated. So this is how the thing's supposed to be. So this means it is not enough to simply set objectives. Okay. So must also plan actionable and then achievable. So these are all the area we have to look into this. Why false is incorrect? Planning and objectives achievement is explicitly required by the standard. Okay, that we can understand. So without such a kind of a planning, we cannot proceed further. Exam tip is generally 6.2.2. 6.2.2 is a high frequency topic in exam. Okay, 6.2.2 is the high frequency topic. So what will be done, what resources are needed, who is responsible, so when will it be completed, and then how will results be evaluated. In audits, look for the evidence generally. Real world example. See, what I am saying is I am generally explaining you each and everything because you supposed to have a remembering of all those kind of things as before writing the examination. Okay, so real world example what we can pick here is reduce warranty claim by 20% in 1 year. How to achieve this one, how we can make this sure that, so what we can say here is like implement stricter supplier controls and enhanced testing. So resource is a $500K budget, new testing equipment as 3 additional staffs. So then quality manager responsible, complete in 12 months. So monthly review of warranty claim data. So this is how the things supposed to be like this. This planning is mandatory. Now moving towards the eighth question, says what is not considered as the resource. What is not considered as the resource? People, resource, infrastructure, environment for the operations of processes, organization knowledge, none of the above. Is it what? So actually, which is not considered as the resource, none of the above only it's supposed to be. Yes, based on 9001 2015, the correct answer is none of the above. Generally, explanation is yes, people needed 7.1.1, infrastructure is 7.1.2, environment for the operations of the processes is 7.1.3, organization knowledge is 1. All classes are 7. So resource means, see, support required, my dear friends, isn't it? So before operation, so what it's supposed to be. So seventh class it talks about what. So this is how you have to look into your answer exactly. So therefore all the options listed, people, infrastructure, environment, and for the operations of the process and organization knowledges are explicitly considered resources in 9001 2015. Since the question asks for what is not considered as a resource, you understand, no? So this question tests your understanding of the standards, terminology, and structure, particularly the broad definitions of resources in class numbers 1.1. So please make sure that you have your 2 pages in front of you if you are writing for the examination. Laptop, behind the laptop, generally the empty wall is there, or just to sit in the nearest to the empty wall, paste that PDCA, then right side there's 2 pages of 9001 2015 classes and everything. So in the left hand side 2009 2011, then 2018 standards and everything. Okay, moving towards to the ninth question. Environment for operations of a process can include environment for operations of process can include social factors, psychological factors, physical factor A and C, and all the above. Okay, my dear friends, environment for operations of processes. Environment can include, see, if it comes environment for operations of the process, social factors supposed to be psychological, physical, ABC, all put together. So all of the above we can say. Explanation is here is class number 7.1.4, environment for the operations of process. Exactly it is matching. That is what I'm saying. My dear friends, please understand. My humble request is please paste in front of you PDCA and then 9 to 2015 2 pages like 8 I think 50% that will come in the second page, 9 and 10 combined together. First is context, then leadership, all put together in the first page. Just paste it. After the examination you can simply remove, my dear friends, because the only time is running. No, we have to identify the answer very quickly. So states that the organization must determine, provides and maintain the environment. So note, while the standard does not provide an exhaustive list, it gives examples and notes that the environment can be a combination of human and psychological, physical factors. So the supporting guidance is 9000 9001 2015 fundamentals and vocabulary. So physical factors such as temperature, humidity, lighting, so everything is available in the standards. Social factors and then psychological factors such as stress reduction, prevention of burnout, encouragement of the participation, etc. So this is further reinforces so by the fact that the standard emphasizes in the human centered approach. Okay, now moving toward to the 10th question. Wow, we are moving fast. Which of the following is an external source of organizational knowledge? External source of organizational knowledge. Lesson learned from failures, that is internal. Knowledge so from customer, that is we can say external. Results of improvement in process, that is also internal. Knowledge gained from experience, that is also internal. So none of the above, the answer will not come. So maybe the answer is, I say exactly it is right. So structure we can see one by one. Here is like, my dear friends, structure breakdown for the option. So what are the options we studied here? So evaluation is internal source, internal incorrect, then external source. So the question asked for is which of the following is an external source of organization knowledge. So this knowledge generated from within the organization, this knowledge originating so from outside the organization. Customer provides feedback, requirements, complaints, and insights that's become valuable. So knowledge for improving product, service, and processes. So other things and all, it is internal. It is simple, like my dear friends. Please understand the question. Just read out the question twice and thrice, so then you will know the answers and everything. Question number 11. What are the potential benefits in implementing a QMS in an organization? We have all the benefits. Helps in providing products, services that meet customers and legal requirements. Facilities in enhancing customer satisfaction, addressing risk and opportunities, demonstrate conformities in QMS requirement. All things supposed to be all of the above. Yes, you can simply write it based on ISO 2015. The correct answer is all of the above. Potential benefits is what we can say here is like simply we can write it explicitly outlined in the introduction section of 9001 2015 class number. Okay, in the beginning classes, the standard is designed to help organizations. See, helps in providing, yes, this is fundamental purpose of QMS. Okay, the entire system is designed like this only. Facilities in enhancing customer satisfaction. The core objectives of the QMS is to enhance customer satisfaction by consistently meeting customer requirements. Please understand, my dear friends. Yes. Now, class number 1.21, 5.1.2, and 9.1.2. And then addressing risk and opportunities. Yes, of course, we have risk and opportunities which to be addressed. Demonstrate conformities to QMS requirements. Yes, successfully implement the QMS provided the objective evidences needed to demonstrate that is a conformities to the standards requirement to the customer regulators and then certification body. So this is how the things are supposed to be. Now, which is not an options, to address risk, which is not an option to address risk, not that is not the options, what we can say: changing the likelihood or consequences of risk, sharing the risk, taking the risk in order to pursue an opportunity, retaining risk by informed decision. None of the above we can say. So which is not an option. Address risk, address how we can address the risk: changing the likelihood or consequences of risk, that is sharing the risk. So we can, so not an option, these are all the options, my dear friends, none of the above, I think so. Yes. So based on the principles of the risk based thinking says in 9001 generally we can pick the answer is none of the above. 9001 require organization to address risk and opportunities, class number 6.1. These standards does not prescribe a specific method for the risk treatment. Yes, we can directly think about it, we can directly predict it. The auditor, maybe the internal, any department from the organization can come here and then they do the audit. They will suggest us the all or it is a risk. It is risk means risk, that's all. The communication wherever it will come, it is a risk only, that's all. Okay. So then sharing the risk, then taking the risk in order to pursue retaining risk by informed decision, none of the above. Okay. So this is an option. So for example, this is the core of the risk mitigation. This also an option says risk can be shared or transformed through means by like insurance warranties or opportunities with other organizations. So this is an option. So this is an option, so this is the correct answer. Okay. None of the above we can see here. Is moving towards the 13th questions. Okay, what is the true about risk? What is true about risk? So we have to talk about the true about risk. It is the effect of uncertainty. Risk can have a positive and the negative effects. A positive deviations is arising so from the risk can provide an opportunity. A and B, none, all of the above. What is the true about risk? It is the effect of uncertainty. Yes, correct, exactly. Risk can have a positive negative. Yes, both we have. A positive deviation rising from the risk can provide an opportunity. Yes. So the correct answer is all the above. So based on 9001 2015 we can say functional vocabulary standards, all the explanation, the concept of risk, that is 9K are defined in 9000K plus class number 3.5. So the standards about the modern view of the risks that includes both threat and opportunities. Okay. It is the effect of uncertainty. That is a true, everything is true because this is the direct definitions of the risk. 3.7.9 define the risk of the effect of uncertainty. So 3.7.9 note 1, an effect is deviations from the expected positive and negative. 9001 2015 version 0.33 is explaining the addressing of them. So conclusion is option D. So we can say here is A and B is correct but incomplete because it excludes the true statement about opportunity. Since all three individual statements, A and B and C are true, the correct and the most comprehensive choice is E only. So all the above we can pick it here. So for the examination, now moving towards to the 14th one. So what do you understand by the phrase context of the other? So what do you understand? Knowledge your colleagues only, knowledge your organization, business environment. So then determining external and internal issues, B and C, all the above we can say here is. So what is the answer? So I think we can take, what do you understand by the phrase context of the organization? So knowing your colleagues only, no, we have to knowing your organization, business environment, determining it. So here is we can say simply. So based on 9001 2014 the correct answer is B and C. The context of the organization is the foundational concept, foundational concept 9K. So defined in class number 4.1, understanding the organization and its context. So now we will talk about the situations like knowing your colleagues only. False, this is far too narrow and is not meaning of context. Knowing your organization business environment, that is true, because we will come to know our review information about its external environment and everything. So determining internal and external issues is, yes, it is also true. B and C, yes, it is exactly correct. This combines the two true statements as knowing the business's environment and determining the issues as that defines it. So all of the above is incorrect, because option A, so we can trigger is knowing your colleagues only, so we can say yes. So I hope you understand, my dear friends. Now moving towards to the question number 15. So, question number 15, why is it necessary to understand the organization context? Why we need to understand exactly? In order to enable the organization to manage all the influences that may affect the intended outcomes, in order to determine the internal and external issues that may be relevant to the organization purpose and its strategic directions, is in order to calculate profitability A and B. So, all of the above. I think profitability is not coming under this one. So, we can talk about here is A and B. The first and the second options are correct. Simple explanation what we can say here is understanding the organization context. Here is 4.1. It's not about profit calculation, it's about being aware of your business environment, so you can build a QMSs that actually works for your specific situations. Let's break it down. So option A, so what we can see here is to understand more explicitly, to talk about option A, in order to enable organization to manage all the influences so that may affect the intended outcome. So this is correct. By knowing so what's happening is inside and outside your company, you can proactively manage those factors to ensure your QMS systems is effective and achieve its goal. Okay, my dear friends, so please option B, in order to determine the internal and external issues that may be relevant. So this is also correct. So this is the direct reasons stated the state standards. So you need to identify so these issues as like new competitors, as changing law, company culture, etc. So to understand is what your QMSs must account for. Option C, in order to calculate profitability. So this is incorrect, my dear friends. So while a good QMSs can ultimately improve profitability, okay, so this is not the direct purposes of understanding the organizational context. Okay, context is about strategic direction and managing influences on quality and not financial accounting. Generally it talks about QMS is mainly defines as the KPA. So what is my objectives and everything. See, if it is everything is good, so then the profitability already there, because we don't see any defects, any recall, any campaign, nothing else. Everything is there. So the profit is also there. Conclusion, A and B will be the right answer here. Okay. So now 16th questions, what we can see here is the standard records to monitor and review information related to what? The standard records to monitor and review. So we have to remove monitor and then review. Organization knowledge, interested parties, internal and external issues, B and C, A and C. So what we can say here is, see, the standard records to monitor and review information related to B and C here is. So B and C, interested parties, and the internal and the external issues as we have to take about it. Internal means what? So before manufacturing of before sending to the customer, what all the internal issues we have. External issues means like, once we send the our product to the customers, so what is that they are feeding us, those kind of complaints, that is a warranty complaint. Generally we used to say that. Expression, this standard says explicitly requires the organization to monitor and review specific types of the information so as to ensure the continued sustainability, suitabilities and effectiveness of the human systems. So here is the, so what we can talk about here is origin knowledge not required to be monitored and reviewed, because the standard requires determining, maintaining and making knowledge is available. So interested parties, yes, required, the organization must monitor, and then internal and external issues is also we have to monitor the same. So organization, so that is what I'm saying, my dear friends, please understand, if you have a your 9001 2015 standards in front of you, so you can simply locate exactly class number 4.2 and 4.1. The organization shall monitor and review information about these interested parties and their relevant requirements. The organization shall monitor and review information about these internal and external issues. So once you go through from the basic video, my dear friends, then only will understand all classes, all each and every subclasses. I have given beautiful automotive, chemical industry, oil and refinery class, school and everything. So all examples are given. You have to understand very clearly, my dear friends. So then only these kind of answers can be identified. First of all, simply jumping to the phase 2 and then learning so many kind of things will never help you at all. Please start from the basic, learn from the basic. So identify all those kind of things as from the basic. Slowly you come down to the phase 2. You enjoy, my dear friends. See, please, you introspect by yourself, you calibrate by yourself. Phase 2 examination is very, very important. Phase 1 is a mock examination. Phase 2 is very, very important. Unless otherwise, if you don't know at least 90%, 100% of the answer, it's very, very difficult to pass it during examination, my dear friends. Please understand. Okay, now moving towards the 17th question. QMS scope means what? QMS scope, it's broader one, department size, extent of an audit, boundaries and applicability of QMS. Okay, where we can address all the above, we can say here is. But here is like boundaries and capability of QMS, we can say here. So explanation is the term QMS scope has the specific meanings as within the ISO 9001 standards, as it is defined in class number 4.3, determining the scope of the QMS is here given. So we'll understand. Department size is incorrect. Then extent of an audit is incorrect. Boundaries and applicability of QMS, then all the above is also incorrect. So this is the direct definition. So from the standards, so the scope establishes the boundary of the QMS by specifying so which part of the organizations are included, so which products and services are covered and satisfying any exclusion so from the standards requirement. So this is how the things supposed to be generally. Okay, my dear friends, moving towards to the understanding of key point from the standards. So class number 4.3 must determine the boundaries. So what are all the boundaries we have? Yes, the word is exactly given in 9001 2015 standards, the external and internal issues 4.1, the requirements of relevant interested party 4.2, the product and services of the organizations is also another main area. So any requirement of the ISO 9001 standards says that cannot be applied due to the nature of organization. So we can say here is. Now moving towards to the 18th question. So what is not true about this scope? So they are asking us again confused. What is not true about this scope? Okay, while determining the scope, the organization shall consider internal and external issues as interested parties and their products and services. Scope shall not be documented. Scope means determining only boundaries and not applicability. So scope shall state, the types of the services and products is covered. Okay, so now the confusion will start. Which of the answer is right? 5 answer is given to you. So please understand, my dear friends, the question itself is a negative question. Okay, so what is not true? So they are asking incorrect answer about the scope. So what we can say here is scope shall not be documented. Everywhere we have to scope documented. So previously I think question number 4 and 5, I think we have studied that. Yes, of course, yes, we have to identify before. Even though you have a plan for the internal audit, we have to identify the scope. What is the scope for this, especially the QMS? I think we can pick it here. Scope means determining only boundaries and not applicability. So that we can say here is B and C. So B and C, the scope is exactly the right answer. Here is the question asked for what is not true about the QMS scope. Let's evaluate each option against the requirements. So for the betterment of understandings and everything. So while determining the scope, the organization shall consider internal and external issues, interested parties, and their products and service. That is a true. Huh? So true, this is the different requirements of class number 4.3, 9001 4.3. Scope shall not be documented. Not true. This is false. The standard explicitly requires the scope to be documented and maintained. So scope means determining only boundaries and not applicability. Not true. So this is false. The scope must include both boundaries and applicability. The applicability refers to justifying any exclusions so of the class from the standard. So true, we can say here is. So what is the wrong answer? See, we have to identify, my dear friends. What you have to talk about in question is negative question. This one we have to pick the false answers only. Okay, I hope you understand. So B and C will now moving towards to the 19th question. Which statement is not in accordance with the standard? So we have five options available. Risk and opportunity shall be determined. So internal and external issues shall be considered while determining. So risk and opportunities, effectiveness of the actions to address risk and opportunities shall not be evaluated. Necessary actions shall be planned to address risk and opportunity. None of the above. So let's see that what is the right answer is. So based on the correct answer is effectiveness of the actions to address risk and opportunities shall not be evaluated. Yes, of course, it should not be. So the question asks which statement is not in accordance with the standard. So let's evaluate each options against the requirements class number 6.1. So generally it talks about actions on the risk and assessment. See, my dear friends, please understand about this. Risk and opportunities shall be determined in accordance. So this is the direct requirement we supposed to have it. The organization must determine risk and opportunities that need to be addressed. The internal and external issues shall be considered while determining risk and opportunities. Means yes, in accordance. So the standard requires us that risk and opportunities are determined. So based on the context of the organization, internal and external issues and interested parties, effectiveness of the actions to address risk and opportunities shall not be evaluated. See, itself is a negative. Okay, so it is not in accordance. So this statement is a false statement. The standard requires us the evaluations of the effectiveness on the action plan. It's supposed to be like this, but they themselves said that it is not to be evaluated, something like that. Necessary actions shall be planned to address the risk and opportunity in accordance is also, this is the direct requirement. The organization must plan actions to address the determined risk and opportunities. So none of the above is incorrect because one of the statement. So the third one is not in accordance with the standard. So that's why we can able to fix it, my dear friends. Okay, now moving towards to the 20th question. What is the organizational knowledge? So it is specific to the organization. So it is gained by experiences. It is used and shared to achieve the organization objective. It is about knowing the organization's hierarchy structures only. So it is knowledge necessary so for the operations of its processes and to achieve the conformity of products and service A and C, and then all the above. So we have nearly five answers available, so little bit confusing. Yes, what is the best answer? What is organizational knowledge? It is a common way of questions as they have been asked. So let's see that what is the answer supposed to be. Yes, it's supposed to be A and C. That is a simple explanation. Organizational knowledge is all the informations and skill so your company needs to run properly and make good products and services. It's not just about knowing who is the boss. It's supposed to be. Let's break it down. Option A, it talks about it's specific to the organization. It is gained by experiences. It is used and shared to achieve the organization objective. This is correct. Okay. This describes the nature of organizational knowledge. It unique to your company, so learned over time and used it to reach goals. So option B, we can say here is it's about knowing the organization hierarchy structures only. It is not the major thing. This is incorrect. So this is far too limited. So while knowing the structure is part of it, organization knowledge is much broader, we can say. Here is how to fix a machine. So what is the customer prefer, something like that. So we can able to see here is. So option C, it is talking about it is the knowledge necessary for the operations of its processes and to achieve the conformity of the products and service. So this is correct. So this is the official purpose of organizational knowledge, so from the standard. So class number 7.1.6, we can say here it's the knowledge needed to do your work correctly and meet requirements. Now here is option D, A and C. So this is the correct answer. It combines the accurate description C and the official purposes C. So option E is all the above. So this is incorrect because option B is wrong. So in the nutshell, generally we talks about the nutshell. So is organizational knowledge is what your company knows. So from experience, that is needs to be operate effectively and make good products. The correct answer is A and C, we can say. Yes, my dear friends. Now moving towards to the question number 21. So what was the purpose of introducing the requirements of organizational knowledge in the international standard? What was the purpose? So what is that? It is it will encourage the organization to acquire knowledge to safeguard the organization, so from the loss of knowledge, to share, maintain and manage information to ensure operations of the organization process and to achieve conformity of the products and service. A and B, all the above. So 5 answers we have. So we have to choose the right one. So let's see that the answer is supposed to be like yes, the all the above it's supposed to be the right one, because what was the process of introducing the requirements of organizational knowledge, purpose of introducing organizational knowledge. So let's see one by one. Explanation is generally, my dear friends, please understand the requirements of organizational knowledge. ISO 9001 2015 generally talks about class numbers 1.1.6 is designed to ensure that the organization acquires, maintain, and then manage. Acquire, maintain, and then manage. It's supposed to be the lead implemented activity, the necessary knowledge to carry out its process effectively and achieve conformity of products and services, especially. So it encourages the organization to acquire knowledge. Examples like, through learning experiences and then benchmarking. It helps safeguard the organization from the loss of knowledge. Example, due to staff turnover or failure to document information. It aims to share, maintain, and manage information to support process operations and products and service. So thus all the points, A, B, and C are correct. So making all the above the right choice, we can able to say here is. Now moving towards to the question number 22. Here now we are squeezing the selections area, ISO TC, so technical committee. So the confusion will start 176, 76, 175, 76. So we need to know the exact answer, my dear friends. The technical committee responsible so for the development of ISO 9001 2015. It's supposed to be SC1, SC2, SC2. So because it is changed 175, then SC3. The actual answer is 76. You have to remember this one. So you have to choose 2, SC2. So TC SC2 176. So just to remain in your mind, you can just simply make the remember. ISO TC 176 is a technical committee responsible for quality management and then quality assurance. SC2, that is a subcommittee 2 of ISO TC 176, is specifically tasked with the development and then maintenance of ISO 9000 family, generally of the standards, which includes ISO 9001 2015. It talks about the options, so the other options, 176 SC1, that is subcommittee 1, focus on the concepts and terminology. That is example 9000 only. So here is 175 subcommittee 2. It talks about 175 does not exist, but this is the just distractor to make you since we have a lot of options available to make you confused furthermore, because multi-choice question is the specialty of multi-choice question is to making you always confusing only. You have to do a lot of practices, so practices will bring a lot of progressing of all those kind of things, which will give you the perfections as well. So here is ISO TC 176, that is subcommittee 3, focuses on supporting technologies. As example, auditing standards is like ISO 19011 is also we can say. Thus, the correct body responsible. So for 19001 2015 is 176 SC2. It's the right answer, we can say here is. Now moving towards to the next one is customer property may include what? What all the things as we can say here is customer property may include. So 4 options are given, production equipment, facilities as product, returned for servicing under warranty, all the above. Yes, of course, we need to talk about everything. So explanation is, customer property is defined 9001 2015 class number 8.5.3. It includes any property. It may be material, components, tool, equipment, intellectual properties, or other personal data that is provided by the customers for the use in connections with the product and service. The options as given are all valid examples. Just like production equipment means like if provided so by the customers for manufacturing or processing. Facilities as if the customer provides us workspace or infrastructure. Product returned for servicing under warranty. So those all the areas is covered in ISO 9001 2015 8.5.3. It talks about a lot. 8.5 is generally manage and control protection and service provisions activities. It also talks about the same difference. Then the standard requires the organization to identify, verify, then protect, and then safeguard a customer property. So here is all the above will be the right answer. So you have to go through one by one, because phase 1 and phase 2 it talks about a lot. Phase 2 we have a lot of explanation. Phase 1 is also we have a lot of explanation, mock exam, and then the main exam. These are all the main exam, my dear friends. What is real time is being asked. That we have taken a sample and then we have shown you with the explanations is what is the right answer is supposed to be. Moving towards to the 24th question, which is not a core concept of ISO 9K, that is international standard. What is not a core concept? Identify the process to achieve the planned results. Continually monitor the risk. manage the process and using PDCA, all the above, none of the above. So okay, some confusion supposed to be like, identify the process to achieve the planned results. Okay, now continually monitor the risk. So here is like, for example, which is not the core concept. It is not, this question itself a negative. So what the option is given, it's not under the concept of 9K. That's supposed to be continually monitor the risk. The risk is not monitoring the purpose. Now we have to resolve the risk. Now risk mitigation, one of the main area. So 9000 1000 based on the several core concept, including identify the processes to achieve the planned results. So this is the part of the process approach, class number 4.4. So where the organization determines process needed, so for the QMS, manage the processes and the systems using PDCA. That is the plan to check act is the fundamental methodology embedded so throughout the standards. Example, class number 6, 8, 9 and 10. However, continually monitor the risk, so it's not the core concept. Because the standard requires risk based thinking. Yes, that is what we already discussed about the same risk mitigation. And then risk identification is one of the main area. Risk register they're supposed to maintain. For example, if you are the lead implementer or maybe internal auditor, you people supposed to have a department wise you know a backup of risk register. So what are all the risk you have been calculated, so during the your process audit, maybe your ISO audit, so that we need to have a proper risk mitigations as against to the ISO 9001 2015 classes. So that is what the main thing, like, which includes identifying risk and then opportunity and then addressing them. So but it does not mandate continuous monitoring of risk as a standalone activity. It's supposed to be like this. Now moving towards to the 25th question. But risk are considered so during planning, review and then improvement. So but the standard does not prescribe the specific continuous monitoring process for risk. It emphasizes integrations of the risk based thinking into existing process supposed to be. Why not the others? See, my dear friends, please understand, both identify the process and manage the process are explicitly the part of QMS principle generally, and requirements. All the above and none of the above are incorrect generally. Okay, so the thing is that core principles of ISO 9K is, it's not just like that simply identifying. It's not like the risk mitigation, risk based thinking and then risk based planning. That is also one of the important thing to see that in line with the QMS standard supposed to be. Yes, now we are moving towards to the 25th question. My dear friends, please go through one by one. Please watch this video 100% full and fully to the end also, because we have a lot of questions as where we can pass the examination in a single attempt, because the payment, what you are paying to the agency is very huge, my dear friends. Please understand, nowadays the cost of the certifications also, it's very very high. People are demanding a lot, because the certification globally it is being demanding. And then once you have that kind of a certificate now, like you will be respected in all the areas. That is the basic thing. Just like that we cannot say we have a good knowledge alone will never help, my dear friends. The results what you are converting from the knowledge, the money what you are going to earn from the knowledge, that makes sense first of all. Now question number 25. The requirement of the identification and then traceability includes what? So identification and then traceability. So mandatory use of suitable means to identify outputs as when it is necessary to ensure the conformity of production service. Identification of the status of output with respect to its inspection and tested results. Implementation of traceability is when it is a requirement. All the above, none of the above. So both are always there. Okay, so the requirement of identification and traceability includes, so what all the things is supposed to be. So all the above, the requirements of for identification and traceabilities are covered 8.5.2. So 8.5 what we said is provision activities supposed to be service and provision activities. So 8.5.2 is a bifurcation of identification and then traceability. So this includes classes. Mandatory use of suitable means is to identify outputs as when necessary to ensure conformity of products and services. Identification of status of output, so with respect to the inspection and test results. The organization must indicate the conformity status as approved, rejected and review. So many kind of traceability mechanisms supposed to be there with the QR barcode if they have it in the sense. So then implementation of traceability when it is the requirement. Third one, why we are not taken. The thing is that mainly where traceability is a requirement, example regulatory, customer and then internal. So these are all the subset of all, but all the above is the very right answer. So 8.5.2 explicitly states all three elements as a part of identification and traceability requirements. These measures work together to ensure products and service conformity. That is a very important thing. All the above is the right answer. Now moving towards to the question number 26, my dear friends, please take care your attention now, because see, my dear friends, please understand, most of the question, multi choice question, we have answered there itself, but the question itself is structured with the answer. They are confusing us to talk about either it is like 21354 21534 42153, so 2154, so this little bit confusions we have, and none of the above. But you have to understand the sequence. So what order do the following corrective action steps normally take for non-conformity product? I hope you understand now. So first we have to analyze the problem, take corrections, take corrective and preventive actions, then update risk and opportunities, investigate possible causes. Okay, something is different. Okay, so now let's see that what is the right supposed to be. So it's supposed to be 215 and then 34, 215 and then so 34 supposed to be now. Okay, so first we have to take corrections, because immediately we have to correct it now. So it is not like going for corrective action, something like that. First immediately we have to correct it, then we have to go for analysis of the problem, investigate possible causes, take corrective action, and then preventive action. Correction is different, corrective and preventive action is different, my dear friends. Update risk and opportunity, finally we have to update it. Meanwhile we have to look into the previous updates, risk register, everything. Explanation: the logical sequences for corrective actions as steps based on the 9k 10.2. It talks about mainly control non-conformities and take suitable corrective action. It's a 10.2 what it defines. So take corrections, it's a 2. First address the immediate issues, example contain the non-conformity products and prevent further impact them. So this is the urgent response. Analyze the problem. One, understand the nature and scope of the non-conformity, example what happened, where, and then what. 5w1 which also we can talk here is. So investigate the possible causes. 5, deep dig deeper to identify the root causes of the problem, example using tools, 5-way analysis, something like that, fishbone analysis, something like that. Take corrective and then preventive action. So 3 is like implement actions as to eliminate the root cause and then prevent the recurrence. So this is the core of the corrective actions, we can say. Update risk and opportunity. Here is the review and update the organization. So risk register class number 6.1 to reflect and all. So why not the others, as the sequences must start with the immediate action. So 2, to control the situation, so followed by the analysis and then root cause investigation. So updating risk. 4, 1, the final steps to integrate lessons learned. So what we supposed to do? So 215 21534 is the right answer. Moving towards to the question number 27. Now, which of the following so would be considered the weakest reason to initiate an audit? What is the weakest reason? They have not talked about the strong reasons. Weakest reason, it's to compare actual practices to the defined standard, to verify whether the corrective actions is effective. Weakest reason they are asking. Identify the root cause of the recent problem, verify that the quality systems continues to meet the requirements. So to we have to see, identify the root cause of the recent problem. That is not main thing. See, audits are evaluation tools. We have to evaluate very clearly, designed to assess conformity, effectiveness, and then compliance with the standards, ISO 9001. So they are not primarily root cause analysis tools, first of all. So why this is the weakest reason, we can say here is to understand, no, my dear friends, before getting to the correct action. So the root cause analysis, RCA, is typically performed using specific techniques, either 5 whys, fishbone diagram. After a non-conformity is identified, so often as a part of corrective actions, is class number 10.2. An audit may uncover issues, but it does not inherently determine root causes. It highlights symptoms and non-conformity for further investigation. Audit focus on sampling and then evidence based assessment, so against criteria, so not deep dive problems as solving. So for the single issues, as we can say here is. So why the others are strong reason? So we know that what is mean by weakest reason, so we should also know that what is the strongest reason. Maybe they will twist during the examination also the question, to compare the actual practices to a defined standard. So this is the core purpose of an audit. An example, verifying conformity of 9k requirements, something like that, to verify whether corrective action is effective. This is the valid follow-up audit objectives, as class number 10.2. to ensure corrective actions addresses the root causes, verify that the quality systems continue to meet requirements. This is the routine surveillances or rectification audit goals. So key point mainly, while audit can reveal problems, so they are not the optimal tools for root cause analysis. Using an audit solely so for the purpose is inefficient, and then misses the broader scope of the auditing. So now we'll understand the main reason. So now we are moving towards to the question number 28. So what it talks about 28. So now we'll understand, my dear friends, what does the corrective actions to do, what does the corrective actions do to prevent an existing nonconformity, defect, or undesirable situations as from recurring. We have to minimize it or take percussions against these those responsible, take actions against this, and then eliminate it. So four options as we have. What is the right answer supposed to be? What does the corrective actions do to prevent an existing non-conformity? So it's supposed to be eliminated, is it? So corrective action is defined 9K. It's supposed to be an actions to eliminate the cause of the non-conformity and then prevent recurrence. So that is what the main focus supposed to be. The key purpose is not just to address the symptom, the non-conformity itself, but to remove the root causes, ensuring the issues does not happen again. So why not the others, we can say minimize it. So this refers to reducing the impact of frequencies, but does not fully addresses the root causes. Take repercussions against these responsible. So this is punitive, so and not aligned with the principles of quality management system. Take actions against it. This is the vague, and then could refer to containment, or immediate corrections of the. So corrective action is proactive and systematic, we can say. It eliminates the root cause to prevent recurrence. So recurrence is the main area we're supposed to be. Now moving towards the 29th question, my dear friends. An auditor's responsibilities would typically include which of the following. Auditor's responsibilities: documenting and then reporting the results of the audit, taking actions on important audit findings, maintaining the confidentiality of the audit, determining the scope, purpose, and structure of the auditing organization, compiling so with audit standards and procedure. Yes, we have to sequence it. What it's supposed to be like this, it's supposed to be 1, 3, and 5 only. See, auditors responsibility, what we supposed to do that, documenting and then reporting the results of the audit, maintaining the confidentiality of the audit, compiling so with the audit standards and procedures, supposed to be in line with the QMS 9K. An auditor's responsibility as defined by the ISO 19011, that is the guidelines for the auditing management systems, typically include documenting and then reporting the results of the audit, supposed to be maintaining the confidentiality of the audit, and then compiling with the audit standards and then procedure. It is the major things as we supposed to take it up to the next level. So why not the others? We should understand why not others also. So point number 2, what it talks about here is taking actions on important audit findings. And then this is the responsibility of the auditee. The organization is being audited, so not the auditor. Okay, so auditor report findings, but do not implement corrections. So determining the scope, purposes, and then structure of the auditing organization. This is typically the responsibility of the audit programs as managers or top management, is not individual auditing. So that's we can say here is come. So this is what the right answer 1, 3, and then 5. Moving towards to the 30th questions, we are going to see. Still we have 15 questions to go forward, because we have 45 questions we have, my dear friends. So for employee involvement efforts to succeed, what may be needed the most. For the employee involvement effort, the initiation of the pilot project, employee understanding of how they can make the difference, increase the basic training company wide, increase the employee incentives. So yes, example, employee understanding of how they can make the difference, that is the main area we're supposed to have it. For example, employee involvement efforts to succeed, the most critical factor is the employee understands us how their actions contribute the organization goals and how they can personally make the differences. So this aligns us with the principles of engagement of people, we can say here is. Now it's also talk about why not the others. So the initiation of the pilot project, it does not include anything because it not most essentials for the same. Increase the basic training company wide means see, it is not like that, not guarantee engagement if employee do not see the purposes or the impact of their work. Generally we have increase the employee incentives. So incentives can motivate, but they are eccentric and may not foster genuine sustained involvement compared to intrinsic motivation. Example, understanding one's roles and impact. So main key point what we can say here is like, my dear friends, without employees understanding their role in the QMSs and how they can contribute to the improvements, involvements, FXs are likely to fail generally. So this is the foundationals to creating the culture of continuous improvement and then ownership. This is how we need to pick up the answer first of all. See, now, my dear friends, please understand from now onwards, it is very clear about they have given one case. So, case what it talks about the scenarios is what went wrong exactly. So, they will ask for whether it is NCR or no NCR, non-conformity or no non-conformity. So, you have to read these questions multiple times, my dear friends. Please understand. Phase one, if you see the phase one, you will understand a lot. Lead auditor phase one, you will understand a lot because similar type of scenarios are there, but we don't see multi-choice questions as NC MNC. We have to write it same. It is happening in phase 2 also. So first you have to understand very clearly, then you can decide. See, my dear friends, please understand. First question they will ask about the scenarios, whether it is NC or not. The second question, the continuation of the first question only, they will ask about what is the objective evidence you got it, what is the scenarios you are identifying. So like that they will connect it. So always remember, you can take the backtrack during the examination, then you can come forward. It is not like that summation of quickly like answering all the question. So please ensure that you are giving the answer wisely, my dear friends. Okay, case one. During the audit of the purchasing process, while sampling the incoming inspection activities, it was evidenced that there are many purposes that were returned to the suppliers due to incorrect supplies. Okay, so on a review of the purchasing process, it was observed that the purchase orders are not being reviewed for adequacy, and hence there were so many correct supplies. We can see here is, so we have to identify what is NCR, and then what is no NCR. It's supposed to be the NCR because the a non-conformity, that is NCR, exists because the organization failed to review the purchase orders generally for the adequacy before sending them to supplier, resulting in multiple incorrect supplies and returns also we can. So abruptly we can see here is the clear situations. So this violates 9K 8.4.3. Please understand, my dear friends, what is meant by 8.4.3. 8.4, it talks about monitor and control external processes, products, and then services. So which requires the organization to ensure the adequacy of the specific requirements as prior to their communications to the external provider. So we could feel the confirmations as example. So via purchase order, something like that we can say. The objective evidence is very, very clear, my dear friends. Many purchases were returned due to incorrect samples. So we have to pick up, my dear friends. Please understand, these are all the words which is directly evidence of, it's a maybe NG evidences we can say. So for making make sure that this is NCR exactly. The root causes were identified. Purchase orders were not reviewed for adequacy. So this is the breakdown. So in the purchasing control, process control, leading to inefficiency and the non-conforming outcomes, as we can say. So now moving towards to the same area, my dear friends, please understand. So here you can understand same questions they ask for whether it is NC or non-NC, but they are asking again what is the the identification classes and then control of the documents. Same, during the audit of purchasing so while sampling the inspection, incoming inspection activities, it was evidence that there are many purchases that were returned to the supplier. So same question they ask. Now they are asking, first one is like, identify the class number, which class number it falls on, control number. So what, and then standard requirement, what it's supposed to be. So 8.4.2 they given, 9.1.1 is also they given, 8.4.1 is also given, 8.4.3 is also given. So we should identify, my dear friends, very clearly about what is the answer supposed to be. 8.4.3, the organization shall ensure the adequacy of the requirement prior to the communications to the external provider. My dear friends, please understand, you have in front of you the standard is available with us. Okay, before moving to the standard, please take the first couple of pages, what the standards talks about generally. the class number, what it defines exactly. So this will make you a lot of quick verification guide, so that at least we can able to pick up the answer very nicely. See, the thing is that explanation, the objective evidence shows that the purchase order, so which communicate requirements, to external providers were not reviewed or adequacy. So leading to incorrect supplies. So this directly violates ISO standards of 8.4.3. The organization shall ensure the adequacy. We have to ensure this one for the external provider, we can say. So why not the other class? By difference, please understand. See, this area generally will make you confused. 8.4.2, these classes focus on the verification activities. Example, inspection, incoming inspection to ensure externally provided services meet requirements. However, the root issues, here is not about verification upon receipt, but about failing to ensure the adequacy of the requirements before sending the purchase order. 9.1.1, so this requires monitoring and then measuring QMS performances, example tracking metrics, something like that. But the problem is the specific process failure, so not a general performance evaluation gap. 8.4.1, so this deals with the selecting and then evaluating external providers, example supplier criteria, so not with ensuring the accuracies of requirements is communicated to them. So the core failure is lack of review before communicating requirements to the supplier purchase order accuracy, making 8.4.3 the correct references we can take here is. Now moving towards the next one, same thing, case number 1, they mention very clearly, during the audit of the purchasing process while sampling the inspection. See, my dear friends, same cases, they are asking 3 questions, so 15 marks they will offer you, my dear friends. So what is it was evidenced that there are many purchases, incorrect samples and all. So now they are asking identify statement of the NCR and objective evidence. Now they are asking the final one. See, early in lead auditor in phase 1, we have to write the class number, we have to identify the first we have to identify the NC non-NC, then class number, then objective evidence, what is the statement, what is the NCR evidence, we have to provide it, and then we have to provide the statement also. Now they have split it, this kind of questions into 4 to 5 questions. So then they are asking multiple areas. Identify statement of the NCR. The purchase orders are not being reviewed or for adequacy, which has resulted in the incorrect supplies. The purchasing process is well defined in the organization, hence there is no NC in the above scenario. The organization has exercised monitoring measurements for the purchasing order. Verification of the purchased product is not carried out as per the defined process. So what may be the answer supposed to be? Yes, the first one is the purchase orders are not being reviewed for adequacies, which has resulted in current supply. So that is what the main subjective evidence, what we supposed to highlight the same. The audit revealed that many purchases were returned to the suppliers due to incorrect supplies. So purchase orders were not reviewed for adequacy, example accuracy, completeness, clarity, and then being we can say this. So this directly links the cause, the lack of review, so to the effect incorrect supplies, it violates 9K class number 8.2.3, review of the requirements for products and services, which requires the organization to ensure that requirements are adequately defined and then conformed. So this is how we can able to explain, my difference. So now we will see that why not the other options, or we have not picked the other options. The purchasing process is well defined, that is false statement, we can say. The organization has exercised monitoring and then measure. This is incorrect. It's already failed. Verifications of purchased product is not carried out. The issue is not about verification upon receipt incoming, but is a preventive control, my dear friends. Please understand, the non-conformity NC stems from the failure to review the purchase order for adequacy, so leading to incorrect supply. So this is what we supposed to look into this, my dear friends. So this is a breakdown so in the purchasing process control 8.4.1, and then we can say, moving towards to the 34th question. Now it has been changed. Case 2, while auditing, see my dear friends, same thing, it is repeating. Case 2. While auditing a manufacturing setup, the auditor observed that the management review has been carried out at the plant interval of once in 3 months. The record of management reviews are maintained. The details of the action taken so far, the follow-up points, so from the previous management reviews are not recorded. So here what is the problem is, this type of internal auditor latest MCQ is means even if you don't know exactly whether it is NC or non-NC, at least we can go for trial. We can able to write 10 marks question if they ask for the trial. In the sense, we can write 10 classes, 10 descriptions, 10 way of answering. We have to check furthermore to drill down exactly to answer the statement, what is the exact answer supposed to be. But here is very very clear, my dear friends. Please understand, please make sure that you are doing the lot of practices, because we have only two options, whether it is NC or no NC. If you are saying it is a no NC, you have to select a proper statement. If both are incorrect, in the sense, you will lose mark. Okay, if it is NC means you have to pick up the character. So please ensure that your 9K ISO standard, 19011 ISO standard plus our notes is also there in front of you. Please take such a kind of examples and everything. So once you have those kind of things in front of you, you are going for the examination in the laptop, you can be passing simply in a single attempt itself. Okay, so now the records management reviews are maintained, and then okay, the question is given. Now they are asking for NC and non-NC. Same question they are asking for again. Same, identify the classes, control number, and then standard requirements is by difference. Let's see the answer. See, first of all, it is what we are saying is it is NC only. So question number 34, we can say here is identify whether NCR or maybe no NCR. So there is a non-conformity because the records of the management reviews do not include details of the action taken. So for follow-up points is from previous management reviews, ISO 9K requires that management reviews outputs include follow-up actions from previous reviews, class number 9.3.3. The absence of this documented information is a clear deviation from the standards, we can say here is. Oh my god. Okay, now moving towards the next one. Why we have to go for identify the class? Now the things that the confusion will start, because all stands in the 9 class. So what it talks about 9 evaluation, it's supposed to be. So you have to understand, we have to bifurcate 9.1, 9.2, 9.3. So it is coming under 9.333, only 2 is there. So 2 and 3 we have to choose one good thing. So you have to take your 9001 manual, 9001 standard, and then you can take it 9.2, use internal audit to examine the conformance and then performance. 9.3 talks about carry out management reviews and document your results. So now our answer is like 9.3.3. The output from the management reviews shall include decision and then actions related to the opportunities for the improvement. Explanation, what we can say here is specifically it requires that the output of the management reviews include C is action related to the opportunities for improvement, decision and then actions related to needed changes to the QMS, any need so for resources, and explicitly includes follow-up actions from previous management reviews. The objective evidence shows that follow-up actions from the previous reviews were not recorded directly, violating this classes. So why not the others? That we have to understand, my dear friends. Please take care. 9.3.2, these classes outline the inputs to the management review. What I said, no, carry out management reviews. But example, status of actions from the previous record does not address the output documentation requirement. 9.3.1, this requires top management to review the QMS at planned intervals, so which was done. But does not specify the output content. 9.2.2, so this relates to our internal audit reporting, not management reviews output, something like that we can say. So thus 9.3.3 is the correct references for this non-conformity, we can say here is. So both question, so please make sure that if you are planning for any NC MNC, please ensure that all things are addressed very wisely. Now moving towards to the another one is case 2, where auditing a manufacturer setup. The auditor observed that the management review has been carried out at the planned interval of once in 3 months. The record of the management reviews are maintained. The details of the action taken for the follow points from the previous management reviews are not recorded. Okay, let's see that what was the same thing, same questions as they have asked, case 2 and then case 2. So here is also same, the case 2 is being asked. Now see, once you start having this kind of question, please ensure that you are writing the same one. Okay, it is not a different scenario. Identify statement of NCR and then objective evidence. The management review has not been carried out as per Planned intervals, that is once in 3 months supposed to be. Records of management reviews does not include the follow-up actions from the previous management reviews. So however the management reviews has carried out at the planned intervals, the records of the management reviews are maintained. Statement of NC is not applicable just as there is no clear objective evidences for the NC is supposed to be. Now answer is, records of the management reviews does not include the follow-up actions from the previous management reviews. However, the management reviews has carried out at planned intervals of once in 3 months supposed to be. Explanation: objective evidences what we can able to feel here is the management review was conducted at the planned interval once in 3 months and records are maintained. However, the records do not include details of action taken. So for the follow-up points from previous management reviews, as we can say here is now. So this is the non-conformity. So because 9K class number 9.3.3 management review outputs requires us that the output of the management reviews include actions related to improvements and then follow-up actions from the previous management. So we can say here is documenting these actions are one of the areas. Then we have to understand why not others. The management reviews has not been carried out as the plan. So this is false because they are doing it. The records of the management reviews are maintained. So this is true but incomplete because we don't see the sufficient information available. Statement of NC is not applicable. So this is clear objective evidences of non-conformity, the absence of the recorded follow-up action. So thus the non-conformity statement should precisely describe the gap. A record exist but lack a record. So these areas. Now, case number 3, that is a different one, my dear friends. The competency requirements, so for sales executive. So as per established procedure of the organizations was found to be defined and the competency gaps are identified. So however, the evidence related to education, training, skills and then experiences are not calculated. That is collected. So we have to identify whether it is NC or non-NC. So the thing is that answer is MNC. Okay, so here is the non-conformity, that is the NCR exists because the organization has failed to collect and retain documented evidence records of education, training, skills and then experiences for sales executives, even though competency requirements are defined and the gaps are identified. So we can able to see here. So this violates 9K class number 7.2. We can say here is the competence, so which explicitly requires the organizations to ensure persons are competent, so based on appropriate educations, training or experiences. We can say here is retain documented information as evidences of competence. So we can, the absence of such evidences is the clear deviations so from the standard requirements constituting the non-conformities, as we can see. Now moving towards to the case number 3, the same thing, my dear friends. Please understand here is the competency requirement for sales executive as per the establishment procedure of the organization was found to be defined and non-competency gaps are identified. However, the evidence related to education, training, skills and experiences are not collected. So now they are asking for the identify the classes, control number, everything. So now the confusion will start with 7.1 exactly, 7.2, 7.3. So here is like all areas they have requested class number 7. 7 talks about support. Okay, 7.1 talks about what is that, mainly providing all the necessary resources, people are competent, and then 7.3 talks about explaining how people can help. That is the main thing. So 7.1.2, organizations shall determine and then provide the persons is necessary for the effective implementation, shall determine to provide the needed of the establishment implementation maintenance. The organizations shall retain appropriate documented information as evidences of competences and then ensure that these persons are competent. Now the answer is supposed to be 7.2. Okay, the organization shall retain appropriate documented information as evidence of competence and then ensure that so these persons are competent on the basis of appropriate education, training and then experience. So explanation what we can say here is the scenario explicitly states the evidence is related to education, training, skill and then experiences are not collected. So generally it defines us a lot. So then this directly violates the requirements of ISO 9K class number 1.2 competence, so which mandate that the organization so ensure persons are competent, so based on education, training or and experience. So retain appropriate documented information as the evidence of the competence. So why not the other classes, we can say. So on point 1.2, these classes focus on determining and then providing the number of persons as needed, so not on documenting evidences of their competence. So on point 1.1, so this is the general classes about providing resources including human resources, but it does not specify the requirements for retaining documented evidences of competence. 1.3, this classes deals with the awareness, so where we can able to pack it. So the core issue is the lack of retained documented information. So you can close your eyes, simply you can choose 1.2 is the right answer, we can say here is. So now moving towards to the case 3, the competency requirement for sales executive as per established procedure of the organization was found to be defined and competency gaps are identified. However, the evidence related to the education, training, skill and the experiences are not collected. Please, my dear friends, please see that this case is the company requirement sales executive, that is as per the establishment procedure, that is evidence in relation to the existing skills and the evidences are not collected. The company requirements are not fulfilled. So same it is repeating. So please ensure that, please take a backtrack of your answer before submission. Now you will identify the statement of NCR and then objective. So generally they will ask whether it is NC, not NC, first question. Then they will ask next one is what is the class number, and then why it is exactly supposed to be. Hmm? Then they will ask about what is the NC statement, and then what is the objective evidence supposed to be. So we have to only pick the answer, my dear friends. Please read the questions multiple times, so then you will identify the answer exactly. So now they are asking the competency details for sales executives are not meeting the requirements. Records of education, training, skills and experiences are not being maintained for sales executive. The organizations are not providing competent sales executive resources for effective implementation. Statement here is submit is there, so we should not press the submit immediately. So of NC is not applicable just as there is no any clear objective evidences for that. One of the NC is there. So what is the answer? Records. Second one of education, training, skills and experiences are not being maintained for sales executive. So objective evidence, what we can show here is my dear friends, the organization has defined the competency requirement and identified gaps for sales executive, but it is not it has not collected evidences, records of education, training, skills and then experience. So this is the direct violations of 9K classes on point to competence, so which requires the organizations to determine necessary competence of persons doing work under its control. So ensure these persons are competent on the basis of appropriate education, training as well as experience. So retain appropriate documented information as evidence of the competences, we can say. So we have to talk about why not others, we have to choose on the competency details of sales executives are not meeting the requirement. This is incorrect, my dear friends, because the competency requirements are defined and the gaps are identified, so the details are known. Okay, but the issues is with the documented evidence. The organization is not providing competent sales executives as resources. This is not proven. So the problem is lack of records, is not necessarily lack of competence. So statement of NC is not applicable. So this there is a clear objective evidences. The absence of collected records is for education, training, skills, and then expertises. So thus NC, what we can say here is it's about failure to maintain records as the evidence of competences, we can say. So on point 2 we can able to simply merge it for the next level. My dear friends, please understand now the thing is very clear. The case 4, both are same. First we have to identify whether it is NC or not NC, then what is the class. So during discussions of the auditor, so with the concerned process owner, it was observed that the management is considering to the to provide additional hardwares and softwares to some of the processes, so to improve their process efficiency. What we can say here is whether it is NC or no NC. So mainly the thing is that we have to identify what is that. Then 7.1, 7.1, 7.1, oh my god, 7.1.1, 7.1. So we have to understand here is it was observed that the management is considering to provide hardware, software, some of the processes improve their process efficiency. So consent process owner. Okay, So let's see that what is the right answer supposed to be. Yes, it is. There is no any NCR because there is no conformity. There is no non-conformity in this case. Management is considering providing additional hardware and software says yes to improve the process efficiency. So this shows the proactive planning says and alignment with the principles of the continual improvement. Class number 10.3 talks about ISO 9K. Here the standard does not require us that all resources be immediately available so at all times. It requires that the organization determines and then provides the resources needed for the QMS. The fact that management is actively considering, so this indicates as complaints, not deviation. So no objective evidence suggests a failure as to meet any requirements is supposed to be. So now question number 41 B, we can choose it because 7.1.3 here is 7.1.3. So what is the right answer? The organization shall determine, provide and maintain the infrastructure necessary for the operations of its processes and to achieve a conformity of the products and services. We can say here it's, so here is hardware and softwares are the part of infrastructure. Class number 7.1.3, it's all support what we supposed to to make sure that they are planning for the next improvement. The scenario describes management considering additional hardware and software to improve the efficiency which directly are relating to the providing the infrastructure. So why not the others? 7.1.1, so this is the general classes about resources, but 7.1.3 is more specific to the infrastructure, okay, which includes hardware and then software. We have a clear definition, my dear friend. That is what I'm requesting you continuously. Please keep your 9K standard 2015 in the right side because you can verify it very very quickly. However comfortable, you can take your left side also in front of laptop, so it will also help to you. It is up to you, my dear friends. It is what you feel comfortable, you can do that. 7.2 refer to the human resources people and not hardware software. 7.4 is also refers to the environment, that is a physical, social, then psychological conditions. It's not infrastructures like that hardware software. So both we can able to answer in same case number 4. Now, same is during the discussion of the auditor, which is the concerned process owner. It was observed that same they are asking for what is the statement of the NCR and then objective evidence. Hardware software related to the information was not during shared during audit. Work instructions for the related resources management processes were not made available. Management was yet to consider their hardware and then software requirements of the statement of NCR is not applicable just as there is no any clear objective evidences for the NC. So now let's see that based on the requirements, the statement is NCR is not applicable as there is no any clear objective evidences, we can say here is not. So the scenario states that the management is considering providing additional hardware and software to provide that the planned action is supposed to be. So statement so we can pick here is the no evidence. There is no any evidence that the organization failed to provide necessary documents so we can say 7.1 as considered is ongoing. Any requirements of the standard example ISO 9001 is violated. So in fact management is proactively looking so to enhance resources which aligns us with the principles of continual improvements as class number 10.3 also we can say here is. So the other options are incorrect because as a hardware and the software related to information was not shared so during audit. So no evidence suggestions. So suggestion information was withheld. So the discussion was open. So working session was for the related resource management processes were not made available. So we can say here itself like the cases does not maintain work instructions or their absence also we can say. Management was yet to consider so their hardware software requirements actually management is considering them. So that also we can say here is very very clear. So now we are moving towards to the 43 and then 44, my dear friends. Please understand same varieties of the questions. During an audit, it was observed that for the batch number 34 for product food grade colors as per work instruction MR 246, all respective cleaning are to be done at 40 degrees Celsius whether whereas the batch rated dated 29 3 2013 was done at 50 degrees Celsius and washing is to be done twice where it has done 3 times. So what is that? Yes, of course it's supposed to be the NC we have to pick exactly the right answer. 8.1, 8.5.1, and then 8.2.2, 8.2.4. So it's supposed to be NC. A non-conformity exists because the cleaning process for the batch number 34 was not carried out as specified in the work instruction. It's supposed to be MR 246. The temperature was 50 degree but 40 only instead of the temperature was 50 degree instead of 40. It's supposed to be so, and washing was done 3 times instead of twice. So it's very clear. And then we have to understand the organization shall implement production and then service provision under controlled condition. We can say 8.5.1 we can pick up here. So why we need to pick 8.5.1? So class number 8.5.1 of ISO 9001 requires organization to carry out production and then service provisions under controlled conditions, so which includes the following documented procedures, so like work instructions, something like that. So in this case, the work instructions, that is a 246, defines as the controlled conditions. So cleaning at 40 degrees Celsius, washing twice, but these were not followed. So thus the non-conformity related to the breaches of the class number 8.5.1. So why not the others? 8.1.1 so deals with the controlling of non-conforming outputs. So but here the issue is about the process not being followed. So that is what the thing we have to classify. That is what, my dear friends, what I'm saying here is, please take your 9K 2015 standard in front of you. It will catch up lot of information. 8.2.2, because once you see 8.7, 8.5, directly you can go to the operation, you can take these standards as even in the exam results also, it's okay, no problem. So relate to the ensuring the organizations can meet product claims, which is not directly violated here. So 8.2.4 is the consent changes to the requirements and communicating them, so which is not applicable here is as the requirements was considered also, we can say. Now we are moving towards to the final question, my dear friends, 45th question. So during an audit was observed that the batch number 4, so same, my dear friends, last question is same, like they are asking what is the statement of NCR and then what is the objective evidence we can able to provide it. So it's supposed to be work instructions for the food grade products as was not conforming as per the system. The cleaning demonstrated during the audit was not conforming to the requirement. For the batch number 34 of the product food color and then clearing not done so as per the requirement of work instruction, and then statement of NC is not applicable as there is no any clear objective evidences for NC. So what is the answer? Final answer is now for the batch number 34. So third one we can pick up here is like a cleaning not done as per the requirements of work instruction, the MR 2046, sorry 246 we can say. Objective evidence is very clear. The batch number number 34, date number 29/3/2013 was cleaned at 50 degrees Celsius instead of the required 40 degrees Celsius and washed 3 times instead of twice as specified in the work instruction. Non-conformity, we can say here is there is a clear deviations from the documented procedure, work instructions, and then we can say like why not the other options. We can say here is work instruction for the food grade products was not was not conforming as per the systems. So this is incorrect because the issue is not with the work instruction itself, so which is defined as and then conforming to the systems is what we can say here is. The cleaning demonstrated during the audit was not conforming the requirements, as we can say. Statement of NC is not applicable as there is no any clear objective evidences for the NC. So thus the previous statement of the non-conformity should directly cite the batch and then specific work instructions that was violated. So we have completed all these 45 questions with beautiful explanation, my dear friends. So finally, my humble request to all of you is always be smart. Take your 9K manual in the right side. 19,011 is only for the reference, my dear friends. If you have any doubt in front of you, for example, if you are writing online examination in the sense no one is there in front of you, so only laptop with you, so you can able to at least trigger out some of the question answers, something like that in the manual itself with your notes, with your backup in my YouTube channel. So we have a lot of questions and answers are available. You can able to take it up to the next level also. My dear friends, please understand whatever the reasons you are saying, no one will talk about anything, no one will care about your efforts, only the results speaks a lot. So please ensure that my channel will make always to support you people going for the certification, please watch the videos 100% before writing the examination. It will be really helpful for you. We have a lot of courses are available: 9K, 14K, 45K, and then 27K, even Python, big data, even Six Sigma we have, and then AWS. If you are IT guy, you can able to choose for the same. Plus, if you are planning for any upgradation, what is the best degree courses we can able to talk about, so that is also available. And then we can see here is like, my dear friends, we have resignation tips. So for example, if you are going to plan for your quitting for one company to next company, your resignation tips is also available. What are the points we have to consider? So 6 videos we have maintained very clearly about internationally, we have compared and then given to you. So enjoy, my dear friends. So please ensure that you are taking a lot of efforts. My congratulations to all of you, and make sure that you are giving the feedback in the descriptions, in the comments also, so it will be helpful for other friends and and our buddies also. So all the best, my dear friends. Congratulations once again. So finally, let's learn and level up ourselves, and let us help and support others. So without pain there is no gain. I hope you like this video. So please give your valuable comments so that I can also level up myself, so and share to your beloved ones. So thank you very much, and thanks for watching.